Okay, Facebook, it's that time of year again where I start making my lasagnas. And my lasagna has changed over the years. It's definitely gotten a little more plain because of my husband in particular, but I would like to share how I do mine because it is a simple recipe that I think anybody can do. And first things first, always start off with a drink if you're cooking lasagna on a Saturday night. Check. Okay, I got that. And make sure you've made your sauce with your meat, any kind of vegetables you want inside of it. You need to make sure you have your cheeses and of course your noodles, which should have an extra virgin olive oil layer to make them taste and look right and feel right. Okay, so here we go. First we're going to start layering the first layer, and we're actually going to have 3 layers total. So the first layer, which will be just like layers 2 and 3, we're going to go ahead and put our noodles out. And then I've already pre-cut some noodles for the end. That'll fit perfectly. Okay, then we begin to layer with our ingredients. I always start with the sauce. And you can use whatever consistency you want, and you can definitely add more or less of anything that I have here or anything of your own. But basically lasagnas always follow the same major principles, which is layering noodles and sauce and whatever else you want. My perfect lasagna would have a lot of vegetables in it, but not my husband's, so we got to compromise a little. So I'm going to go ahead and add large curd cottage cheese to mine because that's kind of how I like it. And then I smooth it out a bit because the cottage cheese is kind of hard to function on its own that way. You kind of got to manipulate it a bit, Okay, but I want to make sure all of the ends have something, lubricating them of some sort. Okay, then we start with our cheeses. I usually always add a little cheddar. You can use whatever kind of cheese you want, but cheddar is definitely my thing. Then, probably hear my husband's action-packed movie out back right now. You always want to add a lot of mozzarella, and that should be the main cheese that you add. Absolutely the main cheese. And I don't add the cheddar to the middle layer, just the top and the bottom. Okay, so that's layer 1. Pretty simple. Layer 2, exact same way. We got our 3 noodles, and we've got our partial noodle. And same thing, we're going to start with our sauce. We're going to have like a lot of extra sauce with this one because I made too much. So I'm going to beef it up a bit so that, I use all the ingredients I made, and I have extra lasagna for the neighbors tonight. Because I definitely want to be able to show them my lasagna. They always share some recipes with me, so. Okay. Alright, so we did good. And once again, the harder part is the cottage cheese. It's a little bit hard to spread, a little bit hard to manipulate into there, but it's absolutely essential, I believe, on any lasagna. Cottage cheese is a must. Or ricotta. A lot of people use ricotta and cottage cheese, just depends. Once again, this is the middle layer, so it's only going to have mozzarella. You can do that any other way that you choose, but for me, this is how I like it done. Okay, and then we're going to go with our final layer. Alright, so they don't stick together completely because they are layered and topped with extra virgin olive oil, and not just any kind, but a really good kind, because I believe olive oil is important and it should be a good kind. Okay, our last layer we're going to finish appropriately, just the way we did the others. I'm going to put a little bit extra than I normally do because, like I said earlier, I overproduced the sauce, which is fine. Can't really mess up on lasagna, I don't think. A lot of people believe lasagna is really hard to make. It's not true. That's not true at all. In fact, buying a frozen lasagna is such an insult to yourself. I'm not saying it's a terrible thing. I'm not saying I've never done it. But what I'm saying is it's so easy to make lasagna, and making it yourself, it just makes it so much better. I definitely wouldn't sell myself short and constantly be buying frozen lasagnas. Okay, so we want to add the rest of our mozzarella to the top layer. And I like the top layer to have a bit of sharp cheddar on it so that it gets a multicolored cheese look to it. And I'm gonna cook it for 30 minutes in the oven at 350 degrees, which is just gonna barely golden the top. And after I let it cool for about 30 minutes so it's easier to cut and everything sticks together properly, this is gonna be some amazing stuff. Okay, so it's ready to throw in the oven for 30 minutes, and there you have it, an easy lasagna recipe.